Hi guys, so today I'm going to again have one from Elena Fairchild's Medicine Heart Oracle. I just love this deck. I'll do more and different ones later, but number 9 with Haya Griva. I probably said that wrong. But there are a couple different versions of him. But the one I think that she's trying to depict is the Divine Masculine and how he is kind of the... And I say he, that's a loose term, we all know in spiritual aspects. And I think that we all kind of understand that. But I just want to emphasize that. But he's supposed to be the one that's able to overcome obstacles. So it's kind of like, pushes us to do those things and push through, which I feel like we all kind of need that. Divine masculine energy will motivate you to process and distill spiritual benefit from a current situation of concern. You have the capacity to attract the support needed to rise above any problem and approach it from an entirely different perspective, shifting your vibration and your experience, and then utilizing your experience to evoke a desired manifestation. Find the truth of your voice, intention, and desire. Strengthen yourself from within and align yourself with that inner realization. Obstacles will be overcome, so do not give up hope or give in to doubt. At the right time, your progress will be swift. And I don't know about you guys, but I've kind of had that moment lately. I think it's, not just things, worldwide, which is kind of weighs a lot on you too. But I also feel like this is, personally, we get to a certain point where you're like, oh, I did all this. Why is there still this? But again, it's that balance, right? And sometimes I feel like when we first kind of get somewhere spiritually, we're so focused on that, that beautiful divineness of, that more feminine emotional aspect that we kind of forget that, we kind of need to push ourselves a little bit and do the action part. Not that, the feminine can't be action based, but when we're talking spiritually, that side of you. So, that emotional and spiritual and that divinity part of ourselves, but we also need that push to do divinity in action, right? So there's another part of this explanation she gives that I want to read. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's like 6 pages, but I found it pretty interesting. And for me, pretty inspiring. It says, the oracle can indicate that you have covered more spiritual ground than you realize. And although you may struggle with difference between when you want something to happen and the manifestation of divine timing, you have accomplished what has been necessary in a timely manner. Hold yourself accountable, but treat yourself with compassion and kindness too. Being human is a spiritually challenging soul school. And that is so true. And then my next card from the Sacred Shaman Oracle is Earth. And this, I kind of feel like lately Earth has been my medicine. Like I get distressed or overwhelmed or whatever. All I got to do is just go out there and just kind of be for a minute. And then it's kind of like that realization that like this is really like what it is. I mean, when all these things are gone, all these buildings and things that we do and things that we worry about are all gone, what will still be here in one shape or form, and it has been here, is the earth, right? And so the essence of this card says, Earth represents the gift of life. The symbol on this card refers to the body of the planet Earth, the human body, and nature herself. We're reminded by the symbol that all creatures are born of Earth, and human beings are the stewards of all of life on this planet. It refers to what we make of it: our health, our wealth, security, grounding, solidity, and stability. It reminds us that the world of form is a gift from spirit and needs to be treated with respect. And then the invitation says, when the earth symbol appears, it represents a need to focus on reverence and appreciation for the natural gifts that are coming to you now and always. The concrete world you inhabit is there by the grace of spirit, and you are part of it. Much can be accomplished now when you focus on compassionate, reverent service to the world. If you act with integrity, gratitude, and humility, you will find yourself more prosperous than you can imagine. Success is assured when Earth appears as an invitation. And of course, there's lots of noises out there, but that's okay. Yeah, so I like earlier, I don't know if you read the post that I put, like sometimes we kind of feel like we're stuck, like we can't help. There's things that we can't control. But ultimately, what we can do doing that within your power and understanding that sometimes just working on you is enough and it is what you need to do, right? It's always like, I explain a lot of times too, when you're in an airplane or whatever and they tell you to secure your mask first. When you do first aid, they tell you to check your surroundings first. Why is that? It's because you can't help others if you're in danger or if you're not secure, right? So ultimately, that's why we are doing this. That's why ultimately why I feel like there's this construction that we're all kind of doing, because you can't help others if we're failing ourselves, right? So with Earth, I feel like there's a lot of that, but I also feel like there's a lot of grounding. I definitely need grounded a lot because I kind of let myself go and I get like captivated by things, or let myself get emotionally swept up, which is not bad at all. Emotions and empathy is what drives that spiritualness of ourselves and that connection, which creates what is, right? But also we have to have that earthy energy. And I always feel like a lot of times when you say stuff like that, it makes you feel like we're talking about like being grounded and being of the earth is bad. But that's also what comes with, that conditioning that they've done for, and I say they, the big they, right? It's that, notion that like, if we allow people to have security in the earth and have a connection with the earth, then there's no way to get in between that, right? So you have to demonize the earth, right? There's a balance. Everything is balance. And it's like, the upper and lower world, and that middle world is that school, right? And then going on to the tarot, the first row is always what the energy we're in right now. So we have the King of Swords, which, you see Saturn there. Saturn rules, we know that it rules Capricorn, but it also is the ancient ruler of Aquarius. So that's kind of where the swords comes in with this king. It's kind of like the Saturn-y type of king, right? When we think of the King of Swords, we think of, lessons and learning and discernment. But it's also ingenuity and intelligence and gaining knowledge, and not allowing yourself to be swept up. But at the same time, on the bottom card, we have the Six of Cups. And when we think of the Six of Cups, what do we think of? We think of, that those past emotions and childhood, all the good feelings that the Six of Cups kind of makes us feel. So I think with the combination of this in a way is saying, we're having discernment, but we're also understanding the value of all of these things, the lessons and the emotions and the good times and the bad times, like all the things that were hard, but also all the things that were good. So I think we're kind of at that moment right now, where again, balancing these things that we learned in this earth school. And then our second row is what we need to work on. So we have the Ace of Swords and we have the Emperor. As something we need to focus on or something we need to work on, I feel like this is saying with the Ace of Swords, that's like some knowledge and some gained understanding. And being over the Emperor, I feel like that's a saying there's like a need for decisive and balanced action, because although the Emperor is powerful and he's represents Aries, so that's movement. It also means and passion, but it also means like a balanced power and emotion and movement. So I feel like we're being asked to really use that knowledge in a very powerful and decisive, balanced way. I feel like I say balance in every single thing, but that's what it is. But then my third row is, the resources we have around us. And I honestly feel like this is just saying that we're kind of all, you have the Wheel of Fortune. This is a time, and I've said this before in another reading, I can't remember what it was, but this is a time where, with judgment in this card to me feels like an awakening and that understanding, that aha moment where we're all kind of, our eyes are all wide open. I feel like with the Wheel of Fortune, this is that time. This is a collective understanding of what that is, of what isn't, right? It's like we're shaking our heads and we're like, wait a second, why did I believe that for so long? Why did I allow that to kind of push me down and keep me from being who I am? Why did I allow these things to go on? And, we can't beat ourselves up. It's a collective thing. It's part of a cycle. It's what it is. Right now is the time where, we are to rally each other gently and, support each other and understand that this is our time to shift that focus and support and encourage that focus in others, to allow people to understand what their truth is, their real truth, not the truth that we've been told for decades and centuries, that that only some humans are worth so much and others are worth less, that you have to earn your right on this earth, you have to earn your sovereignty. That's an inner thing. You don't have to earn it through doing something for somebody else to gain their self, right? It's community. In shamanism, that's what they kind of lived, and that's why I always go back to shamanism, just because I think it's beautiful, the concept. And you got to understand, this has been a global thing, way back, where all communities and all countries and all parts of the world were doing things like this, and you counted on your community. And once that kind of got ripped away, and then it was scarcity and I need to protect me by harming you, there's enough in this world that we don't have to do that, right? So I feel like that's kind of where we're at as a world. And again, it feels hard because there's sometimes things that you can't do, and there's a dog barking, but maybe that means something for somebody. But it's hard because you want to do more than you are, but I have a family I have to feed. I do a 9 to 5, well, it's 8 to 4:30. And, I live paycheck to paycheck with just a tiny little bit sometimes, and sometimes not. It's not easy. Me and my husband both have college degrees, but that doesn't mean that, we have thousands of dollars and we can uproot and take our kids to some other country to help somebody. We can't donate a lot of time and money. But at the same time, you can teach others and you can encourage others. And what you can do, you can do with all your heart, right? Even if that's just maintaining your sanity and your sovereignty and encouraging that in others and future generations. And the last row, we have the 3 of Pentacles and we have the Ace of Swords. So I feel like for this, not the Ace of Swords, sorry, the Page of Swords. But the Page of Swords is very much, because the pages are like youth and that understanding and that thirst for knowledge. And I feel like that's where we're kind of right. Keep that thirst for knowledge. Keep that your truth. Keep that understanding and need for your truth. And I feel like with the three of Pentacles, that can also be collaboration. That can be using the resources around you. Collaboration and crafting our masterpiece. So I feel like this is saying together that that's a big part of this, is making sure that information doesn't get uncovered or covered up and doesn't get hidden underneath things. We are the people that will, encourage others to do these things. We're encouraging people to find their truth. And I feel like collectively that's what we're being asked to do, is to find our own truth, secure your own mask, and then go secure your neighbor's mask, right? I hope this meant something for somebody today. It's been a very up and down day and it's been crazy, but we got this, right? And we got each other. Thank you. And I love you. Bye.